Right now, you belong to one of the only species on Earth that has sex when there is no baby on the line. No mating season, no fixed window, just because you want to, because it feels good, because it brings you closer to someone. And if you stop and think about that, it's deeply strange, because almost every other animal alive treats this one part of life as a cold, biological task. A job done at a specific time for a specific reason and then forgotten until next year. So somewhere in your past, something changed. Your ancestors broke the rule that nearly every creature follows. And the question is, when? When did sex stop being only about making the next generation and start being about pleasure, about closeness, about fun? The answer reaches deep into what made you human. And honestly, parts of it are still a mystery. Let's start with just how unusual you really are. Picture almost any wild animal. A deer, a wolf, a bird. For most of them, mating is locked to a season. There's a window. Biologists call it estrus or heat, when the female's body becomes fertile and ready. And only then. Outside that window, the interest simply isn't there. The male might try, the female walks away. It's not personal, the switch is just off. And when that switch is on, everyone knows. In many animals, heat is loud. The body sends out unmistakable signals, scents that travel for miles, visible changes, behavior that broadcasts to every potential mate in the area. Now is the time. It is nature's version of a flashing sign. There is no confusion, no guessing. Fertility is public information. Think of a cat in heat, yowling through the night so the whole neighborhood knows. Think of a female dog whose scent pulls every male for streets around. Think of deer in the rutting season, when the entire behavior of the herd bends around a few short weeks. In each case, the message is the same. The window is open, and it will slam shut again soon. Miss it, and you wait another year. That system is brutally efficient. No energy is wasted. Mating happens at the exact moment it can create life, and not a second otherwise. For millions of years, that's how it worked for our distant relatives, too. Our earliest ancestors, tens of millions of years back, almost certainly had a season and a signal, just like the animals around them. Now look at yourself. You have no season. There is no month where humans switch on and every other month switch off. A human couple might be together in the freezing depths of winter or the peak of summer on a random Tuesday for reasons that have nothing to do with making a child. In fact, most of the time, the entire point is to enjoy it without one. You didn't just bend the rule that governs the rest of the animal kingdom. You threw it out completely. And to understand how big that is, we have to talk about the strangest thing your body quietly did somewhere in your evolution. Something it took away. It hid the signal. Here is one of the most bizarre facts about your own species, and most people have never once thought about it. In you, fertility is a secret. When a human female is at her most fertile, the exact moment when a child is most likely, her body gives almost no obvious sign. No dramatic scent, no visible flag. Nothing that announces it to the world. Scientists call this concealed ovulation, and it is rare. In most mammals, that fertile window is advertised. In humans, it's hidden. Hidden so well that for most of history, not even the woman herself could pinpoint it, and certainly not her partner. The one piece of information that drives the entire mating system of almost every other animal, when is she fertile, was quietly erased from view. Sit with how odd that is. Evolution usually does not hide useful information. If knowing the fertile moment makes reproduction more efficient, you'd expect that signal to get louder over time, not vanish. And yet in our ancestors, it faded away until it disappeared. The heat that ruled our relatives slowly dissolved into something new. A body that was quietly available all the time, and obviously fertile at no time. So two huge things happened together. Your ancestors lost the mating season, and they lost the fertility signal. Once fertility was invisible and the season was gone, sex could no longer be just a scheduled task tied to making babies. It became something you could do anytime, for reasons that had nothing to do with reproduction at all, which leaves the giant question hanging in the air. Why? Why would evolution take a clean, efficient system and replace it with one where you can't even tell when it counts? What could possibly be worth that? This is where it stops being about biology and starts being about something much deeper: connection. To understand it, you have to look at what makes a human child different from almost every other baby on the planet. A baby deer stands within hours of being born and runs within days. Many animals are more or less independent within weeks or months. A human baby is helpless, utterly, completely helpless for years. It cannot walk, cannot feed itself, cannot survive a single day alone for a very long time. Our huge brains come at a price. We are born unfinished, and we stay fragile longer than nearly anything else alive. Think about what that actually meant on an ancient landscape full of predators. A newborn that can't cling, can't run, can't hide, can't feed itself, and won't be able to for years. Compare that to a baby zebra standing on wobbly legs within within the hour, ready to flee a lion by nightfall. Our children are the opposite, the slowest, softest, most dependent babies in the animal world. And raising a creature that helpless in a dangerous ancient world was almost impossible to do alone. A mother by herself, trying to gather food, stay safe, and keep a helpless infant alive through years of vulnerability. The odds were terrible. What that child needed desperately was a second person, someone who stayed, someone who kept coming back with food and protection, not for a night, but for years. And here is where the strange biology starts to make sense. If fertility were public, a male might stay only for that brief fertile window, do his part, and wander off the moment the signal switched off, just like countless other animals. But if fertility is hidden, if you cannot tell when she is fertile, then the only way to have any chance at fatherhood is to stay, to stick around, to keep the bond alive day after day, season after season. Concealed ovulation, many scientists argue, may have quietly rewired our ancestors toward staying together, toward the pair bond, that long-term connection between two people that is so central to human life. And sex, freed from the calendar, freed from the season, became the glue, not just a way to make children, but a way to hold two people together through all the long, hard years of raising them. A reward the brain kept reaching for again and again, because the couples who bonded were the couples whose children survived. In other words, pleasure had a purpose. The fun was the point, and your body doubled down on it. Closeness between two people releases a flood of chemicals in the brain. Bonding signals like oxytocin, sometimes nicknamed the cuddle chemical, along with waves of the brain's reward system lighting up. These are the same kinds of signals that tie a mother to her baby. In other words, evolution didn't just remove the season and hide the fertile window. It also wired the human brain to feel good, to feel attached, to feel bonded through closeness itself. It built a reward you would keep coming back to, not once a year, but any time, because that reward quietly kept two people together. Look at the difference in the timeline, too. Chimpanzees, our closest living cousins, still carry the loud fertility signals, the visible, unmistakable kind. We don't, which means somewhere after our lines split, in our branch alone, that signal was slowly switched off. This was not the ancient default. This was something new, something that happened on the road to becoming human. There's another layer to this, and it's darker. In many animal groups, when a new male takes over, he may kill the young of the previous male, so the females become fertile again for him. It's one of the grimmest strategies in nature. But now imagine a world where no male can tell which children are his, because no one could ever tell exactly when a female was fertile. Suddenly, harming any child becomes a gamble. That baby might be yours. Some researchers think this fog of uncertainty may have helped protect ancient children and pushed multiple adults toward caring for them instead. Confusion, in this case, became a kind of shield. So the very thing that seems like a flaw, a body that hides its own fertility, may have been one of the quiet forces that made us cooperative, bonded, and deeply social. Creatures who stayed, who cared, who connected. And we are not entirely alone in this. There is one relative that took the idea even further. Meet the bonobo. They share almost as much DNA with you as chimpanzees do. And among them, sex is not mainly about reproduction at all. For bonobos, it's social. It's how they greet each other, calm each other down, resolve conflict, ease tension, and build alliances. Two bonobos on the edge of a fight might diffuse the whole thing through closeness instead of violence. In their world, physical intimacy is less like a mating ritual and more like a handshake, a hug, a peace treaty, the social glue that holds the whole group together. Bonobos show us something important, that in a smart, deeply social species, this part of life can evolve far beyond making babies. It can become a language, a way of saying I'm not your enemy, a way of belonging, and that might be the closest thing we have to a window into what happened in us. A species where connection, comfort, and bonding became reasons in their own right. So by now, the story feels almost tidy, doesn't it? We lost the season. We hid fertility. That pushed us toward bonding, toward staying, toward cooperation, and pleasure became the reward that held it all together. Case closed, except it isn't. And this is the honest part that most videos leave out, because we can't go back and watch it happen. Every one of these ideas, concealed ovulation for bonding, hidden fertility as a shield for children, pleasure as the glue of the pair bond, every single one is a theory. A careful, well-argued theory, built from bones and biology and living relatives. But no one alive watched our ancestors cross that line hundreds of thousands of years ago. We are reading the ending of a story whose middle is gone. Some scientists argue the pair bond explanation. Others think concealed ovulation came first and bonding followed. Others point to social living, to shifting power between the sexes, to a dozen tangled causes feeding into each other over an immense stretch of time. The truth is, this is one of the great open puzzles of human evolution, and it may never be fully solved, but maybe the mystery is the most human part of all, because here is what we do know with certainty. You are a creature that seeks closeness for its own sake, that craves connection, not just reproduction, that reaches for another person not because a season commands it, not because a signal flips on, but because somewhere deep in your history, being close, staying close, became one of the things that kept your ancestors alive. Every other animal waits for the switch. You don't have one, and the reason you don't may be the same reason you fall in love, the same reason you hold on to people, the same reason loneliness hurts and closeness heals. So the next time you feel that pull toward another person, the wanting to be near someone, to stay, to belong, remember that it is ancient, older than cities, older than language. A quiet inheritance from ancestors who discovered that the bond itself was worth keeping. They didn't just learn to survive, they learned to stay together, and that might be the most human thing we ever did. If this made you see yourself a little differently, you know what to do. I'm Fred. I'll see you in the next one.